Okay. And therefore, I had to dig a little bit deeper into this month in order to understand the depth of joy within myself, and therefore, whatever that I'm speaking today, it has to do with my own process of thought and has to do with my own process of emotion, having gone through this past week. And I tell you why it was such a challenging week for me, because Friday was our anniversary. So it was, thank you.
Today somebody asked me what's the occasion for today. I said we are celebrating life.
Yes.
So we are celebrating life and we are celebrating death.
Yes. So it was very challenging for me, and this has to do with my own process and with my own layers of thought. And I'm gonna take you to a place that might be very, let's just say, don't believe anything I say. And don't believe anything I say. However, a lot of these are rooted in Jewish thought. It's rooted in Jewish mysticism. And believe what you may, hold it as a possibility that it could be true or it could not be true. But it is thought-provoking, and that's all I want for today, for something to be thought-provoking. So I have a question. A lot of times when we identify with something or when we want to identify something, we say, this is. So for example, we have a picture in front of us and we say this is a picture frame and it has this kind of coloration in it and it has this kind of painting in it and things like that. We're going to do something different today. We're going to say what is not. We always ask ourselves, what am I, or what is? What is my purpose? What is my mission? What is? I'm going to ask you, what are we not? What are we not? So, and from that angle, we are going to, hopefully I can bring it all together, and we are going to understand the joy on a different level than we can touch joy or that we can, we identify with. So what are we not? Anyone? What are we not?
Men.
We are not men. Good.
Try not to be cruel or bad.
We are not bad.
We are not bad.
We are not bad. We are not cruel.
We are not perfect.
We are not perfect. What else?
Eternal.
We are not eternal.
We are not dead.
We are not dead. What
We are
else?
not Muslim.
We are not Muslim. We are Jewish. Okay.
This is good.
Okay.
We're not done.
We are not done. That's very good, actually. I like that.
We are not in Israel yet.
We are not in Israel.
Yet.
We are not living in Israel.
Okay, let's bring the question a little bit closer.
There yet.
We are not there yet. We are not there yet, which is very similar to what she said. We are not done.
Different there.
We are not there yet. Where is there? Each one is different. The there of each one is different.
To fulfill our mission. That's what
To
she
fulfill our mission. We are not
there yet.
there yet. Okay.
We are not made of iron.
We are not made of iron. We are not
We are
iron.
not. We can break down sometimes.
We can break down sometimes. let's make the question a little bit smaller. As a human being, what are we not?
I'm not negative.
Animals.
Not,
Animals.
not you. What is a human being not? We are not animals. Okay. What are we made up of not?
We are not angel.
We are not angel. We are not unconscious. Thank you. We are not unconscious.
We're not machines.
We are not machines. We are not robots.
We are not completed.
We are not complete.
We are not God to judge.
We are not to judge.
We are not God to judge.
We are not
God.
We are not God to judge. We are not God to judge. That's good. Yeah, that's good. What else? You wanted to say something? Oh,
We are not computer.
we are not computer.
We are not complete.
We are not complete. Anybody else?
And we're not God.
We are not God. Okay, I'm gonna.
We are not untouchable.
We are not untouchable.
Hashem touches everybody.
And we're not all knowing.
We are not all knowing.
We're not material.
We are not material.
We're soul.
We're both.
You're getting there. Go ahead.
We are.
You're close.
We have an emphasis. We have an assignment.
We are not material.
We are not negative.
We are not negative.
Actually, by nature, we are.
Well, we'll go to that. Okay, we are not negative.
We have to work on ourselves
Anybody
to be
else?
positive.
We are not forced to make bad choice. I mean, because we have the.
I'm sorry, we are not.
We are not forced to do bad choices. Again, this
We are
is
not
only-
forced to.
This is
We are not
relative.
slaves.
Yeah.
We are not slaves. That's good. We are not slaves.
We are not without God.
We are not without God.
We are not without choices.
We are not without choices. That's great. Yeah.
We are not devil.
We are not devil.
We are not angel. So
We are not
human.
angel.
We are not a bad woman.
We are not a bad woman. Okay? Okay. That's so cute. That's so cute. All right, so hold the thought. Hold the thought. I'm going to go into it in a little bit. What has been the time that you can remember that has been the greatest moment of joy for you? So now it's a completely different question, but we're going to bring it together. What?
Giving birth.
Giving birth. Giving birth. Why?
Because you're part of the creation.
You're part of creation.
Bringing another neshama to the world.
You're bringing another neshama to the world. Anybody? Being a mother. Being a mother.
Charity.
Giving charity. Doing charity gives you a lot of joy.
Bring love.
Bring love.
Hope.
Bring hope.
Help each other.
Help each other.
Uplift.
Uplift.
Be positive.
Be positive.
Healthy. Healthy.
Healthy. Be healthy.
Healing.
Healing. Who said? You said.
I said.
Okay.
Dancing.
Dancing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Dancing.
Not to be jealous.
So, Juna, what? Juna?
We are not to be jealous.
We are not to be jealous. Okay, my question is the greatest moment that gave you joy. The moment that you felt the happiest and you felt greatest joy, when was that? Giving birth.
Going through the process of pregnancy.
Going through the process
When I help to each other, I enjoy too much inside.
inside you. Okay, thank you. If we can have only one person talking here, I would really greatly appreciate it. One person, and then we don't talk to each other because then I can't hear you. And then we can't hear each other. This is a room, I don't want to do the whole talking, but we need to be talking to each other so that everybody can hear us. And whatever suggestion each person makes is just as important as the other. So I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
What's the greatest moment?
Right.
Basically, I think it's all giving. What everybody said was giving charity, giving birth, giving chesed, giving this, giving that. I think the magic word you're looking for is giving.
So it's something outside of yourself. It's not something, it's a joy within yourself, but it's to go outside of yourself to create. Not always.
Within yourself, you can have joy also.
No. It's within the joy is within yourself, but it's when when you give to outside. That's what I'm trying to say. When you're coming outside of yourself.
To visit sick people anywhere, in hospital, in the house, when you see the people who are sick very bad, I feel enjoyable inside. And talk with that lady or the lady.
All right, again, it's something coming outside of yourself. Coming outside of yourself. Okay. So the month of Adar is a month that, first of all, Rosh Chodesh is Thursday and Friday. We are not in Rosh Chodesh yet. However, we are moving towards it. Every month has a consciousness. It has its own energy. If you would, if we can imagine a home that has 12 different pipelines, and each pipeline, all of these pipelines are connected to each other, and each month we have the opportunity to turn on one of these pipelines. Permission is given to us. Not only is it given to us, it's our responsibility, it's our vantage point, it's for us to turn it on and to have this consciousness, this energy available to us. This month of joy, we can tap into this joy for the whole year. So whatever that's available for each month, it becomes available for the whole year. It is almost like we're drawing in that which we call joy. We don't have a different word for it. We call it joy. It's greater than that. It's greater than pleasure. It's greater than what we come to describe joy. And I will go into it a little bit, but it is for us to be able to tap into it. Its culmination comes to be on Purim, which is 15th of the month, and it is also a full moon, which is in its fullest form. It is joy in its fullest way, and it gets expressed by us giving each other gifts. It gets expressed by us being, dancing, by us being happy during the whole 2-3 days of Purim. However, and the month of Adar is connected to birthday and yahrzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu. So the whole month of Adar, which is 7th of Adar, which is next week, the whole month of Adar is connected to this idea of being able to, month of Purim is about transformation of something that was not so positive, of transformation of Haman wanting to, God forbid, harm us, its transformation into joy, and also Moshe Rabbeinu, the culmination of his life, him being having left Egypt for so many years, for 60 years, he had left Egypt and coming back. And for 40 years, again, the idea of redemption and the idea of being able to turn something that is conflicted and something that is strained and something that is difficult into a transformation that is open, that is positive, that is joyful. The month of Adar is connected with that. So the question, what are we not? And what I'm about to say, you don't have to believe me, think about it. It comes from Jewish thought and Jewish mysticism. We are not, despite what we think and despite what we have been taught for so many years, we are not what we think. We are not what we feel. We are not what we are not necessarily our actions. These are all expressions. They are only expressions. And we fall once we start identifying with our thoughts, once we identify with our emotions, and once we identify with our actions. Now, you might say, but I am what I think. I do what I think. How can my thought, I not identify with my thought? Because there is something greater and deeper than our thought, than our emotion and our action. And all of these three, and this is the month of Adar, all of these three need to be infused. Our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, our speech needs to be infused with what we call our quintessential self, which is our soul. The greatest, the wisest of all men, the wisest, the wealthiest of all men was who? Shlomo. What happened to Shlomo at the end of his life?
Disappointed from the life. And depression. And a big depression.
Does everybody know the story of Shlomo? So Shlomo Hanavi, he was a Navi, at age 12, right after his dad passes away, and his dad is King David, right after his dad passes away, has a dream. In his dream, God comes to him and he says, what would you like? What is it that you would like? I give you wealth. Would you like to be wealthy? Would you like to have strength so you can make your enemies subservient to you? You can have whatever you want. Shlomo HaMelech says, I want wisdom. And God says, wisdom, chokhmah. And God says, because you asked for that, I will bless you with everything else. So Shlomo HaNavi becomes blessed with everything, becomes blessed with wealth. It was the height of peace in Israel. It was the temple gets built, the first temple gets built in its glory and in all its beauty. It's Shlomo HaMelech who built the temple, who was friendly with everyone around him. But and it is said that Shlomo was so wise, he was so connected, that he could affect not only the physical world, but he could affect the upper worlds as well. He knew the song of every animal. He knew the song of nature. He was connected to creation and the melody of creation. And that's how wise he was. And yet, And yet, at the end of his life, once Shlomo died, his kingdom got split into half. There were a lot of problems, and we know he had 1,000 wives. What happened to him? I mean, God forbid, I don't want to judge him, God forbid. But this is a lesson for us as we are going forward. What happened to him?
He didn't
He-
have a son, no?
He did. He did. Rochev. He did. He did. He had. He had. Rochev. He had a son. He had. He identified. He identified with his wisdom. He identified with his his mind being so open to all of creation. Bless you. Bless you. Once we identify with something, once we become attached to it, once we say, I am this because of this and this, we shut down the movement of the soul that is supposed to be feeding the wisdom. It's not vice versa. It could be, but this is the flow. The flow is the flow of the soul to my thoughts, to my speech, to my action. This is the flow. Once we identify with it, this is where we can be separated or feel separated. So month of Adar, it's the Aleph Dar. It is the month where Aleph, it could be the Hashem's name, Hashem's unity. Hashem says, make me a dwelling and make me a sanctuary and I dwell among you. So this is to make a sanctuary so that he can dwell amongst us. And how does that happen? And not only that, for us to make a sanctuary for ourselves so that the Aleph can dwell within me. And that's the Aleph of my soul. It's not only Hashem dwelling within a sanctuary. It's also the Aleph of my own soul dwelling within this sanctuary. How does that happen? Connection, right? By connecting, by connection.
What is the question again? I'm sorry. I don't get the question. What do you mean? Like, what do you want us to answer? I don't get it.
Okay, so you know how it's so easy for us to identify with status, right? So easy. So easy for us to identify with power. So easy to identify with a certain position that we get or we don't get. Either we get or we don't get. We identify with it. For example, it's easy to identify with failure. I'm not even talking about status as being someone who is in power, even someone who has failed. It's so easy to identify with failure. It's easy to identify with, you name it, a degree. It's easy to identify with letters after our own names, right? It's so easy to identify with that. I'm saying if we take that out and we allow for the movement of the soul in order to feed the thought, speech, and action, what do we need to do? What is it that what is it that we are supposed to do consciously, if we choose to? Otherwise, we can become like robots. But we are conscious, as Rebecca said, we are conscious human beings. We are not unconscious. And if we choose to actually, we need to to make a choice, that we are conscious human beings. And with that consciousness comes choices. And if we choose, rather than my thought, my emotions, my speech feed my soul feed. It's an inward thing feeding an outwardly thing, rather than outward feeding the in. Does that make sense? I mean, I wish I had a board here so I could throw it. I could draw it.
Identify you with something. It's
Not people identifying with other people. Me identifying with myself. This is all about me and about
something from yourself when you identify yourself with something. So you expect yourself to do something that sometimes you have no choice. You don't want to do it, but because you expect to do it. You know, you think people expect you to do this.
That
Like,
could be.
like Solomon. So people
That could be.
Because he was wise, people expected him not to make any mistake at all.
Right.
Isn't that like that?
It could be. It could be. But I'm talking more about the things that we ourselves, the way we identify ourselves.
As your
And
mom
sometimes-
said, as your
We
mom
shouldn't
said,
attack, you saying in my, what I understood, you're saying we shouldn't be attached to our thinking or anything else. We should be detached in this world. Nothing has to attach us.
Yes.
We have to be free. That our soul can fit.
That it can, right, that it can express itself.
Expresses.
But our soul only thank you. But our soul only expresses itself through thought. It can only express itself through choice. It can only express itself through action. There is no other way of expressing itself.
what are you saying?
Can I help?
Okay. Yes, please, please.
You're saying that the soul is greater than all of these parts.
Correct.
You're
Thank
saying
you.
that the soul is much bigger,
Correct.
more infinite.
Yes.
And that when we say I'm attached to being a woman, being a mom, being the letters after the name, being a daughter, this, that, my job, whatever, that we limit ourselves sometimes instead of being as infinite as the soul really is.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. Thank you. I'm taking you everywhere with me. Exactly.
So those are just labels that are put on us.
We label
We
ourselves.
label ourselves.
And then we
Correct.
box ourselves in.
Correct. And a lot of the times we do it to ourselves.
Right.
It's not anybody else doing it to us. Nobody's out there saying, we think they are. We think they expect of us.
That's what
We think we are in our own home and we think this is what people are thinking of us. Meanwhile, people are busy doing their own thing. And maybe nobody even cares. It's what we think other people think of us. And again, so therefore it's me again. Because it's me in my own thoughts thinking other people are thinking something of me or expecting something of me.
So what should we think? Let's say a lady, she's a nurse. Okay? So
No,
she-
wait, I want to go into.
She
Okay, go ahead.
identifies herself
As a nurse.
What she says to herself, I'm a nurse, she limits herself. So what is she supposed to think of herself?
She's absolutely still a nurse. She's absolutely still a nurse. It doesn't mean that she's not a nurse, but she's not limited to being a nurse.
Of course. She can always become a doctor. No, really.
Yes, she's not limited to being a.
She's
but
a human being. You
Exactly.
Have, isn't it that you make your
So let me go through the month, and then we'll bring our questions at the end. So the most that we can learn from the month of Adar and how we can be soul infused rather than thought infused, rather than feeling infused, rather than action infused. And don't get me wrong, action is we have to act, otherwise this is a world of action. We need to be doing. However, for the action to be soul infused, we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was born in this month and he passed away in this month. It is said that you know Yahushua, they call Yahushua son of Nun. It says in the Torah, Ben Nun. Who is Nun? The sages say Nun is actually Moshe Rabbeinu. Now the sign of this month, the mazal of this month is a fish. If you take a fish out of water, it starts being out of breath and it can die. The way that we are supposed to be, and the way that we are supposed to be living our life, and by the way, in Aramaic, nun is fish. So Moshe Rabbeinu is connected to being a fish. He's a fish. He's the great fish. He's the fish gadol. And actually, Dag is number 7, which is the numerical value of fish. And the great fish is number 50, which is Nun. So Moshe Rabbeinu is the great fish. He is the fish that always resided in the water.
Which is Torah.
Which is?
Torah. The water is resembled to Torah.
Torah.
Also the word
Always
dag in
connected.
Hebrew, the word dag in Hebrew, it's a verb that means to take out of the water.
To take, and he was
So it's
taken
fish.
out of
Yes.
water. And he was taken out of water. So it is always about connection. The greatest joy, our greatest joy is about connection. It's about connection to our soul. It is about connection to our godly self. It is about connection to that part of us which is eternal. Somebody said we are not eternal. That would be true with our physical body. That would be true with all the attachments that we have. Because as time moves, we are not that. I am not that I was 20 years ago. And I'm not that I was 30 years ago. And I'm not that I was 10 years ago. As a matter of fact, I'm not that I was last year. I'm not that. It has moved, it has changed, it has shifted. But then there is a part of me that is exactly the same the moment I was born and will remain exactly the same the moment I pass away. And that is eternal. And it is being able to operate from that level. Aleph is also the level of Keter. Keter is the crown. And the level of Keter is, it resides, it's not within the body, but it's something, if you can imagine a crown is not within the body, it's not in the body, it's on top of the body. And this crown is associated, the level of Keter has 3 points on it. It has the level of Ta'anug, which is pleasure, the level of Emunah, and Ratzon, which is will. So these 3 are very much connected to each other. Joy, or Ta'anug, pleasure, Emunah, and will. Ratzon, will. So the joy is actually connected to that deep faith, to that level of Keter, the deep faith that I'm here. It's God's will that I'm here, His will, His Ratzon. And a lot of times in prayer we say, may my will be His will. be a reflection, may my will be a reflection of his will. The fact that we are here is a reflection of his will. And I don't mean here, I mean here. Is here. This olam is a reflection of his will. That in itself is a reflection of his will. And to have the faith, the deep faith, to move forward without being connected to this thought, this emotion, this status, this, and again, I say this because this is my own thought process. When there is a change when there is a transition in someone's life, whether for good or for good, all of it for good, that change in transition, we can hold on to the past with such power that it doesn't allow us to move with the power that we need to move forward with. Because at the end of the day, each one of us has its own reason, its own mission, its own purpose that we are here for. And each one of us have our own path. But the path can have many possibilities. It can be layered over layer over layers. And it is to make that choice of being conscious enough to say that I am greater than all of that. I am greater than my emotion. I'm greater than the thoughts that I'm having at this moment or yesterday or tomorrow. And I can have my thought and my emotion and myself and my action be infused with the godliness that's within me and with the godliness that's eternal. On Purim, we are supposed to reach a place within ourselves. We are supposed to get so drunk within ourselves that we are not, or so joyous, drunk so that we can be joyous enough to not know the difference between blessed is Mordechai and cursed is Haman. We are supposed to get to that place that we don't know the difference between the two. Why? Why?
Is it ecstasy?
It's ecstasy? It could be.
Non-judgment.
Non-judgment. Very close.
Free.
Free. Enjoy.
Choosing good over bad, positive over negative.
We're supposed to reach a point that we don't know the difference between the two.
When you don't have to fixate over who the enemy is that's trying to destroy you, it means that you're free from it, right? So not worrying about Haman, not having to react to his name, it's liberating.
That
Now,
we're
why we
all
don't
one.
need to know Mordecai's name, I'm not sure.
Just being.
Just
That
being.
We're all one, eventually, I think. So it is later that it develops from who we are, what we are, the essence and the source of divine God that's within all of us. Then later on, it goes into being negative or positive, a good person or a bad person, evil or light or whatever. We're all one.
We become pure.
That's right. That's right. We are supposed to reach a place of Keter. The month of Adar is about reaching a place of Keter, reaching a place of Aleph, where all is united. Everything is united, which means blessed is Mordechai is united with cursed is Haman. And we don't know the difference between the two. I know that's a very sublime level for all of us to reach at, but that's the essence of Adar. Also, Moshe Rabbeinu is the first fight with Amalek and Haman being the ancestor of Amalek, the first friction, the first fight happened with Moshe Rabbeinu. The month of Adar has the possibility of erasing Amalek. Who is Amalek? Yetzer Hara. In another word, it's what? If we have faith, what is the?
He's enemy of Israel, no?
It is the enemy of Israel.
Grandson of the
We don't have fear.
Esau.
We don't have
Right. Okay. But who is Amalek today? Who is Amalek? The doubt. Thank you. The doubt that we have. The doubt that we have. Amalek and Safek have the same numerical value.
They from Germany.
Correct. But who is not? Yes, we have an Amalek that's outside. But unfortunately, we have an Amalek that's inside.
Spiritual
And the inside Amalek is doubt.
Is fear.
Fear and doubt. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm saying there is spiritual Amalek and there is physical Amalek.
Correct.
I think you're
Correct. That's right.
The spiritual Amalek is the safek, is the fear.
Correct.
The doubt.
Correct. It's the doubt. What is the doubt? Doubt in what?
In ourselves. Our essence. I mean, that am I doing this right? Or because we get used to a certain lifestyle. And as you said, we identify ourselves with that. When things change, it's a new beginning. I mean, you don't know what you are doing. It's like a child that is born and has to learn how to walk, talk, and behave. So it's sometimes we doubt ourselves what we are doing. Am I doing right things? But I think always you have to see listen to your guts. I mean, that's
it.
That's guide you what to do, and that's the soul that you have inside.
That's right. Yes.
Sorry, but I have to
Please tell me.
I think we were made with doubt. This is how God made us. I think that our thoughts, speech and action are subject to these doubts. It's the human. And I don't think it's helpful to hate any aspect of ourselves or to say that we're Amalek inside. I mean, God forbid. I think we struggle. It's better to have faith. But I would never want to teach myself or somebody close to me to hate any aspect of himself. And I'm saying that because Amalek is to be hated.
Okay. Right. I hear you. That's beautifully said.
I think it doesn't serve us.
What?
Doubt.
Doubt does not serve us. Okay, so I just wanna this is what I think, and I'm not sure. It might be correct, it might be incorrect, but there is no correct or incorrect. This is really a thought process, and it's really the evolution of who we are, and it's the evolution of our soul. There is nothing, it's a process. We cannot come to anything right this second. It's a process. Everything is a process. Doubt is also a process. And again, it's not identifying with it. It is not, we all have doubts. Of course we have doubts. How can we not have doubts? We doubt ourselves, and we doubt the course of action we take, and we doubt so many things in our lives. We doubt even the faith sometimes. And that's okay. That's our humanity. But what we are saying here, and what we are saying about the month of Adar, is that there is a place deeper than the doubt. There is a place deeper than that which is our humanity. This is what I'm trying to bring out. There is a place that's deeper than our humanity. And our humanity says to us that we have emotions, and yes, we do. And our humanity says to us that we have thoughts, and yes, we do. And our humanity says that we have doubt, and yes, we do. And there is nothing wrong with that. But then there is a part of our soul, there is a part of us, there is a dimension of us that is our soul. And that part of us knows no doubt. It knows it does not become attached to anything. It is continuously moving. It is in continuous movement. There is no stagnation. And if you know joy, with joy there is no stagnation. It is in continuous movement. It is continuously becoming, evolving, being. And that part of our soul, it is 1,000% okay to be in our humanity, and we have to be, and we have to experience it. If we don't experience it, we are not human. But then we allow it to be infused, if we choose to, with that conscious part of ourselves. We can make that part of ourselves conscious by choice, to make it conscious enough to allow the doubt to be infused with the faith, to allow the emotion to be infused with the faith, to allow the failure to be infused with the faith.
How easy is that to access it? I mean, it's not that easy.
It's a process.
Because, I mean,
It's a process.
sometimes you do something, I mean, in the course of your life, that is so different than your personality and the way that you're always doing things. And you tell yourself, that was not me. And sometimes the result is great, is life-saving, and sometimes, But you tell yourself, it was not me. It was like somebody made me to do this with my hand or with my action, but it's not me. And that's what's inside.
That's it.
And
But that's you.
How. I mean,
That's you.
But how do you access it? I mean, I cannot find a way, I mean, direct way to do that. Maybe
It's a
you have
process.
to get to the situation that is life and death, and then you grab it.
It's a process. It's a process. All of this is a process. It doesn't happen. Yes.
I think usually when we talk about a soul, usually we say godly soul. Meaning, I think, not just like God, but belongs to God, right?
Correct.
Or an
The way
extension.
what you're saying speaks to me is, I say to myself, maybe my thoughts, my speech, my action, those are my will, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
But the mistake is to say, that's all there is to it, right?
Right, exactly.
But it's not that the soul is mine. God forbid, it isn't. The soul, the reason it's bigger than us is because it's from God.
Correct.
And those things you're talking about, that you think were more than you, that's because there's more to you than your thoughts, speech, and action. That's what she's saying.
That's right.
So I think, I just want to add the word godly before every time we say soul.
Thank you.
And then my head would work better.
Okay. That godly part of us. That godly part of us. We have, huh? Oh, 100%. 100%. I've completely gone overboard. I've spoken too long. I didn't speak too much. It is for us to be like fish this month. It is for us to be connected. And there is our way to access it, our way to become it is to be like a fish. It's to be connected, and the connection is a process. It comes in different points, it comes in different times, and it's a conscious process. We can connect to each other just like this. We can connect to ourselves. We can connect to, obviously, through prayer and to Hashem. It's all about connection and strengthening our faith. Because once we strengthen our faith, joy, just as a result of it, can flow through. The joy that we are talking about, it is not, it could be, it's an expression of it, but it doesn't have to look like that. It's not a joy of dancing up and down, and it's not, oh, I had the greatest time I was here. As a matter of fact, the joy that we are talking about, it's very serene, and it is everlasting. It's something that expands the soul. It expands ourselves. It expands our consciousness. And it's the joy that's everlasting. So everybody said giving birth, becoming a mother, giving to others, giving to charity. That is everlasting. That is a joy of creation. That is a joy of bringing ourselves out of ourselves. It is allowing. Once we become attached to something, we are identifying with it, and we are not allowing the godliness to flow through. Is that better? we are not allowing the godliness to flow through. But once we take that out of the equation and we allow the godliness to flow through, we allow for creation. We allow for creation, whether it's of kindness, whether it's of hope, whether it's of a light going in someone's head, whether it's of inspiration, whether it's of friendship, whether it's of connection, that then we allow. We are not stuck in our own world. We are not stuck in our own thought, in our own emotions, which is so easy for it. And if we are, it's okay. That's where I was last week. I'm in a different place today. That's okay. We need to go through our rhythms, and we need to go through what we need to go through. But it is to say that I'm able to open up now, and it's possible for me, if I choose to come outside of myself and to create. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate all of you. A couple of announcements. February 27th, we have very honored and proud to have Rabbi Shmueli Boteach come to Ima and Bet Hadassah. I'm excited. I asked him to talk about relationship, so he chose love versus lust, but it's really relationship with our spouses, relationship towards each other. And so please, it's for young, it's for old, it's for not married, it's for newly married, it's for whoever who wishes to hear him. So please come. And also, Abby June has her jewelry in the back. Again, talk about giving and talk about coming outside of ourselves. She has dedicated her time for the past so many years to selling custom jewelry in order to raise money for orphans in Israel. So please help yourselves in the back. And again, thank you, Malka June.